Welcome to Party of Two Tabletop Terrain Talks.
Tabletop terrain talks.
Yes.
It's kind of a tongue twister.
Jeez. This is Monday nights. Every once in a while, we will be doing a Tabletop Terrain Talks where we will be working on terrain for our tabletop game here and also talking about Pathfinder, about our campaign, about tabletop RPGs in general.
Yes, and I'm not trying to be antisocial. I'm just like getting the word out there
Shh.
to all the peeps on the socials.
She just doesn't want to interact with everyone. And I'm sorry, but I think our music was a little too loud there for a moment.
I think so too. Hey, if you are in the chat, if you are watching this right now, can you just leave us a note in the chat if the music is too loud? Yeah. We're playing with music kind of for the first time the last 2 weeks, and we're not totally sure how it's going. Because unlike some people, we don't have a third audio-visual guy.
What?
We don't have an AV guy.
No, there's a studio and a group of writers working on our stuff all the time, right?
I'm sorry. I forgot. That's true.
Our team of writers are busily at work.
It's true. Okay, tell Weston, tell the lovely folks that I have my headphones on. That
What am I telling the lovely folks?
What are we talking about today, Liv?
Today's discussion.
We can't both be looking at our phones.
We can't?
No.
Oh.
Someone has to not be looking at their phone.
Well, I just had to put one over here. We want to talk about some of the things that are coming out of PaizoCon. So for any of our listeners who are also, or watchers that are also acquainted with the game Pathfinder, which is what our game, The Scions, is played with, they had their convention just recently. It was all done online, but they revealed...
It was all done through Twitch,
yes,
actually.
It was.
The whole thing, which was really cool.
So the whole thing done through Twitch, and they are releasing a ton of new books, ton of new content, new adventure paths, and we want to talk about some of those tonight. Thoughts on some of the things, thoughts on PaizoCon in general.
We're really excited. We are really excited about some of the things that they're coming out with. Like, it's going to completely change the game. Like, literally change me as a DM. What I was planning for our campaign is most likely going to get changed because of what was released over the weekend. Geez.
So that is what we will be talking about tonight on our Tabletop Terrain Talks.
Technology and I are struggling right now. It's like deleting what I'm writing as I write it.
That's generally not helpful. And then let's also talk about our terrain that we're doing. So as usual, we are crafting our terrain using the Terraino modular system. And we've been generally using stone. Most everything has been... Let me open up
our plethora of things. We literally... Okay, so we took an ornament box from Christmas. Do you want to show them the box? It's actually really cool. So we took an ornament box from Christmas, and that has all the separators and stuff like that so that you can put all your ornaments in and they can stay safe. And I bought one because I'm like a cheap person, so I bought it after Christmas. And I was like, oh, this will be really good for when I'm putting Christmas away. And
Christmas was already put away.
As soon as my husband saw it, he was like, this is going to be perfect for our terrain. That was not where my brain was. And I was now thinking, crap, now I have to find something else for our ornaments.
Well, the thing is, we'd already put our ornaments away. So it was kind of like, well, what do we do with it?
I know. Yes, I'm one of those people that was literally going to unpack the ornaments and put them in the new thing that I found.
But instead, we use it for our terrain, which you notice there's not a lot.
Why?
There's not a whole ton in there right now because of the fact that a lot of it was pulled out for use in some prep I've done for tomorrow night's game.
Bum, bum, bum.
In cranes and different things. And so... But yeah, since we've been in Citadel Infrarak, everything is stone because they're in this stone keep carved into the side of a dormant or dead volcano, and so it's all stonework.
Yeah.
But we're looking at in the future not always being in stone.
Yeah, we've had a really one palette since we started in terms of artistry in the campaign, so we needed to branch out a little bit. And I found these really cool. Okay, so I know Jake. So Jake, if you're watching this, hi Jake. The creator of Terraino, he is a lover of Dollar Tree, and so am I. I'm a little bit obsessed with Dollar Tree. I don't know if you guys know this by now, but they have these really cool, not as thick and lush as like you'd get at Michael's, but they have these really cool like grass or I think they call this floral sheets. I think. Anyway, you can get it in the floral garden section at the Dollar Tree, and yes, they do have a floral garden section. It's where they get like the wreaths and the moss palms and the Spanish moss and stuff like that. Anyway, they have these, so anytime that they come in, I buy like 5 or 6 of them, and we use them for different things for terrain, which is really cool. But I do want to show you the quality difference. So this is moss that I bought at Michael's on clearance for like $3, and there were 2 of them that came in a thing. And then this is what I bought at the Dollar Tree. You can kind of see there's like it's very holy. It's kind of holy. You can kind of see through it versus the stuff at Michael's is like super thick.
Yeah.
It's like freaking carpet. So there is going to be a quality difference at buying stuff at the Dollar Tree. However, it's freaking terrain that you are going to be playing with a minimal amount of time. When you're doing, at least the way that we play, we're really RP heavy, so...
We are. Well, and the other thing here, give me that stuff.
Which one?
Both of them. Because here's one thing I am a little concerned about in using this stuff. Is which for anyone,
it sheds.
Look at the table here. I think it comes out kind of black in that. Let me hold it up here. See the gray.
I was about to say, we just changed the settings on
the lighting
our
coming out here is
cam.
like black there.
Yeah, we just changed the
settings a little bit.
settings on the craft cam, so...
But one of my issues is this is pretty plush.
It's really plush.
I do worry about, with how plush this is, it not being as steady and stable for the miniatures.
Oh.
Whereas for this, because it's so hard and flat, might be more stable for the miniatures.
That's true. I have actually never thought about it that
So
way.
there might be, I mean, I like the look. I mean, look at these. We've cut these squares. So the way the trainer works is you put everything here, which I did share in the chat, the link to the site there for it. But everything...
I would also like to just point out really quick before we get any farther into this, we are not sponsored by nor endorsed by the Terreno modular system. We just love it. So
Yes.
I wouldn't mind being sponsored by them, but we are not sponsored. We just really like it, and it works really well with our gaming and my desire to DIY things.
Well, and we're cheap. We're
Don't
cheap.
say
I am
that.
cheap.
Oh my
I am so
gosh.
cheap. There's a reason we buy stuff at the dollar store. Okay? Let's not pretend.
Besides the fact you can get some really good stuff at the Dollar
Yes,
Tree.
beside that.
Name brand things.
But we are cheap, and I like to be able to build what I want when I want it. I don't want to necessarily have to be, I've got, this is the train as they built it, and so I've got to use what they built. Mm-hmm. But I've also, I've seen a lot of other more traditional terrain stuff where it's using that pink foam stuff. I don't remember the name of that specifically that everyone else uses, where they're using the hot wires, and what Dad uses for his stuff. It's pricey, costs quite a bit of money.
Is it the insulation foam stuff?
No, it's different. And generally, it just sits on top of the table. It's not locked into anything.
Yeah, and it's really, like, they have it on top of a battle map, and then, like, if you bump the table, things move.
Yeah.
Which, when you're in an encounter, you guys know a freaking space counts.
It does. Well, and so that's why, Trina, I'm just going to show this real quick. The way that it works, this is me making a brand new, I just started the other day on a new full sheet of the train base. And so you got this little jig that he gives you the instructions on in the book and on his YouTube videos, going straight in right there. And then you do all these little squares, and those squares are where everything fits. So I have got a tray. I spent a ton of time last night, and I got a full tray here of these white squares.
But we've done it for a while now, and Weston has figured out how to do it really quick.
I'm getting quicker.
Getting faster.
It still takes a hot minute to do it.
It does.
But yeah, so use the jig, make sure they're right, but then we'll put these on top of those.
And I made those last night. I cut all of those out.
And that will give us our our grassy knolls, our areas outside.
The grassy knoll.
Yes.
There's literally a fly on our grassy knoll.
It's set in summertime. Our kids leaving doors open all day long.
Oh my gosh. Today was the first day where being upstairs was like genuinely difficult for me because it was
Really?
so hot upstairs. Yeah.
I think it was.
We went outside. We did hot dogs and hamburgers for today, and s'mores, and we have a teeny little fire pit, and well, it's not teeny, but it's a fire pit, and it was really hot outside. I was really struggling.
So, and then the other thing you're working on, you want to show them some of what you've been working on?
Yes, I would like to show what I'm working on. Freaking technology and me, you guys. Like, we're not friends right now. So I'm building a tavern, and I've been really, really excited about this build because the first time that I saw pictures of the taverns with Trano, I was so blown away by them that I was
It's awesome.
I want to do one so bad. So I finally have the opportunity to do one because maybe not, one will be coming up in the future.
Maybe. And I've never messed with roofs.
No,
I've
haven't.
never.
Everything we've done has been roofless.
Yes.
Hold on, I gotta grab my stuff. Okay, so what I have made so far, and last week I know we talked a lot about, we did a lot of cutting last week, and I didn't want it to be this episode as much.
So we made some stuff ahead of
time to just kind of show you guys where we're going and how we were going to do everything. So these are the rafters that I made. These are going to go on the very top of the building. And I know that there's like the craft cam, but I kind of want to show you guys what it looks like. So this is all out of foam, just the regular foam. This is out of craft paper, but you can use anything that's like a stiff cardboard. So we have craft paper just hanging around from other DIY projects that I've done. So this
I know
really
in the YouTube video he uses cereal boxes.
A cereal box,
He
yeah.
uses
So
cereal box.
it's that consistency.
Again,
I think
we are
craft,
cheap.
I think the craft paper actually is a little bit thicker than the cereal box.
Oh,
paper.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
So it is. It didn't bend as well as his did. In his.
But it might be a little more
tutorials,
durable. I do wonder if it'll be long term a little more durable.
I have no idea.
If they'll last us a little bit longer.
They might. Who knows? I don't know. But then the shingles are all made out of paper and masking tape, believe it or not. You can see that.
We just had someone comment and they haven't tackled the roof pieces yet themselves.
I know. They're really intimidating. Like legitimately intimidating. We had to watch the tutorial video like
20 times. So you had me play a little bit, then I'd stop it. Then we go back to watching our show, and then you'd work on it up to there, and then go back, watch the next, couple of seconds
and
there.
I would have to watch sections probably 3 or 4 times to be like, okay, am I doing this right? And I would still do it wrong the first time.
What were a couple of things? What were a couple of things that tripped you up?
The way that I was putting the pieces on the foam to trace them out. Jake did a really good job of making it so that it was very streamlined, like where you put it down, trace, flip it, put it down, trace, like so that everything was connected and it was going to be really, really easy to paint once you got done. And I put them down the wrong direction. So once I figured that out the first time, then I flipped it over and then did it again the right way. I did that twice with 2 different pieces because, okay, you guys, I have ADD. Like, can we just throw that out there on the table right now?
Well, and you were listening to
Critical Role.
We're fans of Critical Role. You were listening to Critical Role.
So hard to get to the last episode so that I can watch it with everybody.
Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I don't think it's gonna happen either. But fighting the distractions, you continue to work on those. So yeah, that was one thing. I also noticed making sure that you leave the openings, the gaps.
Like these gaps are very intentional in between the 2 pieces here, and I was like freaking out thinking that those were not right. So I did it, and then I cut it because I was like, it's not right. It's supposed to be flesh, and nope, I was wrong. So I have to do it again.
Trust the
creator.
The creator.
Almost like Jake knew what he was doing.
Yeah, almost like he knew what he was doing.
Almost. Anyway, so I did do one little thing different is I did peel up all of the shingles so that it created almost, after I finished them, I was like, this almost looks like dragon hide. But so that the shingles had a little bit more depth and dimension to them. But that did take longer because then I had to paint the underneath parts. But I still have to paint the backs of these and like do some touch up and stuff. But that's what I was working on.
One other thing that we did figure out, continue. Okay, go ahead.
And then these are the other slat pieces that I made. And red is my favorite color. So soda boxes are a good source for chipboard also. Yes, that would be. I didn't even think about that.
It's true. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jab M4.
Jab MB4. I have no idea. This is so weird calling people by their Twitch handles.
One other thing that we figured out though, so we do the grains on wood a little differently than the way he does them. So he does them with just a pencil. We actually, and I don't remember what.
Black Magic Crafts.
Black Magic Crafts. He uses one of these. So this is like a grill cleaner brush type thing. Mm-hmm. And it makes really great grains on your wooden pieces. I have some that I painted just the other day. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this. Let me see if I can hold this up to the camera.
Don't use that one. Use the other one. The other one's a lot more prominent. The wash was darker on that one.
Which one's?
That one.
This one here?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if I can shine this up in there. But the grains on these.
Put your hand behind it so it's not trying to focus on your face.
All right. I don't do this thing very often. There you go. So I liked the way that these grains. Let me get this. Oh, there we go.
I'm Jabba the Mutt on the Trino Discord.
There we go. Hello, our friends from Trino Discord.
Hello. We love you.
I like the way that this has the grains.
Yeah.
The problem with this is it does cause a little bit more scratching on the foam. And so when you tried to cut after doing this, it caused more ripping. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to use this to do or something like this to do your grain for your wood, we would recommend half cutting first. So you do a light cut or
making sure you have a brand new or newly sharpened blade.
Yeah.
Because we did realize that one of our blades was really dull and the other one was not as dull, and it did a lot better. Obviously, hello. Like, that's logic.
Sharp knives help.
Sharp knives cut better.
Oh.
Let's. Anyway,
magic.
So I know.
So that is, those were a couple of things. I'm really excited about the roofs. It definitely adds a lot, especially when you want to create a town square, and then you just want to create, I can throw together enough, walls for a couple of buildings, but if you can throw together a couple of, half roofs to throw on those, all of a sudden it brings it in so much more. I remember in our campaign when you were running the back alleys. You were traveling the back alleys, chasing down
the
halfling.
Yeah. Who was bloody freaking fast, and I almost lost her.
Well, she had taken a potion that you can find out about in the Pathfinder Legends book that the members of the Bellflower Network have that allows them to grow their legs.
Yeah.
So it does
like freaking witches.
Yeah, their legs. I didn't know witches grow their legs.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
So they grow their legs, but they're
really weird tonight. Leave me alone.
Their upper bodies stay the same. So it looks pretty awkward. They actually become clumsy during it. So they take a negative on all those rolls.
Which was the only way that I caught this chick.
Yes. Yeah, she fell a couple of times.
And
I think I rolled a nat 1.
You did.
On one of those. Yeah, she fell on her face.
Super fun.
But on those, if you remember...
Okay, hold on. Now that I know that somebody's actually watching, can you tell us if the music is too loud? If the music that is behind us is too loud, please tell us. Anyway.
But if you remember, I made all these little huts that were supposed to be the areas where the slaves wash and cut wood and all that stuff. And I didn't have roofs on any of them. I just took a piece of board and just painted it brown and put it on top. Mm-hmm. And if instead I'd been able to throw something like this on top, I would love to think about and looking at his designs and homebrew, which I always worry about trying to homebrew some Terrano stuff because it can
I've already
fall
thought
apart.
about it.
Have you?
Yeah.
But smaller, how would you shrink that? How would you
the square these?
These. If you were trying to make a small hut.
Like teeny tiny little
hut, and you didn't want a roof that big, how would you shrink that down? That would be an interesting.
Just use the rafter piece, like the top rafter, like the peak pieces.
True. You could use just a peak.
Instead of using the rafters and then going from the rafters to the peak, you just use a peak.
But imagine how much better that whole encounter would have felt
really cool.
if it would have had all those little
and
roofs.
then we put the LED lights inside little campfires like they were going, and then we get little smoke things that are getting smoke coming up and out.
Oh gosh, you are going crazy on this. Ah,
Okay, I just would like to say to everyone, it's his fault.
it is
He's
my
the
fault.
one that turned me on to Pathfinder to begin with, and like tabletop gaming to begin with. Which
But
is
you
funny, 'cause
found
my
Terreno.
father- I am the one that found Terreno.
And you bought it for me for Christmas.
I did.
So you found Terreno because I was not sure how to do any of that.
Well, I didn't really find it. You had been coveting over it for a little bit.
So did I find it
You
first?
found it, and I watched you covet like a little boy, which was so cute because you were always like, "Ooh, look what he can do in this," and "Ooh, look what he can do with this," and so then I bought it for.
I was a Legos player all the time as a little kid. So being able to build little things and put things together was my joy. And so in this, I get to play it as an adult. And then I get to play in my Lego houses in a much more intensive way than I ever did before.
It's so true. Speaking of, did you see that ad for the Lego Masters show?
Yes,
That
I have.
season 2's coming out.
Oh, jeez.
That is insane what they make.
Yeah,
I feel like we all start that way.
we do.
Anyway,
All right, so should we get into some crafting and into some PaizoCon?
yes. So just so you guys know what I'm making right now, I am making the peaks of the rafters, and I'm working on that aspect right now. So if you have questions, please feel free to look to like put them in the chat, and we can chat about it, either about terrain or about PaizoCon. If you watched anything of PaizoCon, please geek out with us.
Yeah, if you've got opinions on
we're
that.
happy about that. We watched a lot of No Nat's reaction videos, and I have to say, his reaction videos were way more exciting than the actual PaizoCon was.
So, my wife is a performer. I'm a
What?
public speaker in a lot of
What?
instances. And so we have a real belief and recognition of the power of production value and the presentation of things.
Yeah.
And I feel Paizo could really use some help on that front.
Yeah.
The information's great. The gaming systems are awesome. But as far as how they present it, I feel a little help could be used there.
Yeah, it was
A little dry.
It was a little dry. I cannot say anything about the live plays because I did not participate. A, I did not participate in any of them, and B, we didn't really watch any of the live plays because they were later in the evening, and we've got 3 little boys and like work and lives and things that we have to do, so we weren't able to watch those as much as we would have liked. What are you looking for?
The piece I cut out.
Oh, I don't know.
So here's the problem
So-
with dealing with something that's see-through, is it's see-through. And if you lose it, you can't find the stupid thing.
That is true. That is very true. Cool. Anyway.
And I will be, I'm working on just walls. So we do,
Yeah, so that's what I'm working on.
so these are some of the wooden walls that, again, come from the Terreno.
I feel like we just ADD'd really hardcore onto a different topic.
I'm going to come back to PaizoCon in just a second.
Okay.
I just want to kind of get through the last couple things. So I'm building wooden walls. We do our insides as a light tan and then do a brown wash. And the outsides is a brown, a regular brown color, with a black wash to then get the graining and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I'm going to be gluing those together. We've got them in multiple stages. For anyone out there who has not really gone the wooden route, I know there's a lot of stress, especially if you just get the first book. You then are just making stone walls, and that's all you're really doing. So if you haven't gotten into the wood yet, these are really cool.
It's true. It is really cool.
Where'd that go? I can't find any of my stuff.
I don't know
Ah!
where to put it.
This is what happens when I don't clean up my area before we start streaming.
I'm over here frantically cleaning to like make sure that everything's organized and looks good, and Wes is like, "What are you doing?" Like, I'm trying to look organized, people. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, so PaizoCon,
Yes.
while you look for your pieces of clear.
So yeah, they've got 6 books. So it's 6 books being released
In the next
in the
year.
next. It's not even a year, 8 months.
In the next 8 months?
Yeah, because it's by March.
But the book that I'm excited about is not coming out until
March.
March. Of
Yeah, it
next
comes out in
year.
March. That's the one that focuses on it's the Book of the Dead, focusing on the nation of Geb which is completely. It's interesting because I haven't read up much on Geb.
I haven't really either. I knew it existed and I knew it was out there, but I didn't.
But Geb's not the same as the area with the Whispering Tyrant.
No.
Like, those are two different areas.
Yeah.
And one's got the Whispering Tyrant and all of his undead, but then there's apparently also this nation of Geb, which is full of undead. So there's a lot of undead apparently walking around.
In, like, a successful civilized society.
Apparently, because, yeah, Geb
Sort of.
is apparently on the other side of the continent by the nation of Nex.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, Nex was a heavy magic. They were a heavy magic country.
Yeah.
That they went to war with. Yeah, so I don't know much about it, but apparently it's going to be all that area and focus on the undead. It's going to have new undead, I imagine, necromantic spells.
They specifically talked about rituals and the actual societal formation within Geb. So the hierarchies of the different undead and they showed some. At least Nonat showed this. I don't remember whether or not.
No, these were from
were
Paizo. They're from
okay.
Paizo. Yeah.
So they showed
their concept art because it's still so early in development.
They're still messing with it. But they showed kind of like the differences between the ghoul that is the ghoul that you're used to encountering in tabletop RPG, where they're like really awful and nasty and gross, and they're unreasonable. They're like not human at all. And then versus like what they're like in Geb, which is the like more socialized, and they had like armor, and then like one step up they actually had full clothing and incense to hide and mask this smell of death, and they even had like a little baby. It was like a little baby undead, and they had a little incense burning thing. Like, it was, the concept art was incredible. And Paizo, I do agree on this side, Paizo does such an incredible job of hiring artists that are like at the freaking peak of their game for these types of books. Found it.
Found it.
It was literally right next to your phone.
Yeah, it was. Which one thing for any of our people who are using the Game Gear, the Trano system, one of the things he's got on here are these windows. That does gives you a three windowed wall, and one of the things that we came across in our using what you have is we had an old roller mat for our office chairs that had begun to break, and they make wonderful windows.
Put your hand behind it so it can't see your face.
Don't look at my face. Hide yourself.
There. You'll get better. It's okay.
I can never seem to get this right. Ah!
Anyway, they make these really cool windows that you can kind of see through, and we are figuring out, I think we're ordering the LEDs to put on the inside so that it does look like lights are
Yeah, we can do that. But yeah, just we do have a rotary tool that I use to cut these. Works really well, and then I can just slide these in as my windows on everything, which I love.
Yeah, I know.
Well, and I can slide them in and slide them out. Like, so I can change them out. I could paint them and then, change the color coming into it and all that.
It's a great idea.
I
know. It's a great idea.
I liked it.
Okay, you guys are...
We have ADHD.
I feel like such a moron. Cake. Interaction is like a really big deal for me. So if you have anything to say, please say it. Because it makes my heart happy when I look over at the chat and people are talking.
But...
Anyway.
What is from PaizoCon? So the biggest thing that you're excited about is the Book of the Dead.
I'm excited about that and the 400-page book about
Absalom,
the main city of basically the world of Glorian is Absalom, and it looks like Paris. If you've ever been to Paris or you look at a map of Paris, it looks very similar with the way the districts are lined up. And how it has that outer wall, because in Paris, the River Seine, it kind of goes around it, and it creates an island. So to me, it looked like that.
The river what?
I am going to smack you in the face.
But
I will pronounce things the correct way in French. The river Seine or the river Seine or whatever we say.
So how they say it? Sa?
Seine. It's Sein. It's a nasal vowel.
I'm gonna get slapped tonight.
Yep.
So, the
Cruising for a bruise.
well, and you understand, because you and I have talked about this a little bit, why Absalom is important, other than just being big.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot. It's like the center of the world.
So what happened is that Eoden, the god of humanity, that was kind of his city that he raised, that he started.
It was his baby, basically.
Yeah, so when he, was alive, he raised the Starstone. Did you just cut that wrong? Yeah, you cut that wrong.
No, I didn't cut it wrong. I forgot to put the wash on it before I cut them apart. You guys, I need a checklist. I need a freaking checklist on what I'm supposed to do.
Make your little binder that just has, each thing, and here's what my checklist is.
Okay, well, I will have to do these individually. It's fine. Whatever. Oh, what? Okay, keep talking about that, and then I want to share something cool we figured out about the paint.
So yeah, so he, that was his city. So he created that. From that city began to spread the rest of culture. Then
Do you have the brown wash over there? Or do I need to make more?
No, we got brown wash. I think I put them over there, actually.
It's right here. That's what I had.
Yes.
I just had the yellow and the black.
No, there should be a brown.
Okay, I'll just make another one.
Where'd it go?
I don't know. You keep talking.
But he, from there, kind of spread culture after the destruction of the Starfall. After the Starstone fell and everything like that, it kind of spread out from that area. So it's kind of the birthplace of modern human culture. With Absalom is from there, which is, for me, it was always kind of strange that he founded that city, built that city up, but when he was supposed to return to Cheliax.
That doesn't make any sense, does it?
But that was the Starfall doctrine, was that he'd return to Cheliax.
I'm fine.
Not really sure why, but hey, but he didn't return anyways, which I did find it very interesting that I was watching one of the.
No, Iomede's way later.
No, Iomade actually was his one of his heralds, who then kind of took over for him when he died. Which, by the way,
because Iomade was in Cheliax?
I don't know. It's possible.
If you know the answer to this deep and burning question, please put it.
No one does. Which, by the way, he mentioned that he's made so many pieces and forgot to add my detail section for painting. Yep.
I know, right? It's awful.
Which, by the way, again, let me see if I can do this. So this is what the walls look like after painting and everything.
Lighting sucks.
I can never get this in the right place. There we go.
Oh! Good job, babe.
Look at that wall, though.
It's gorgeous.
That's a great looking wooden wall.
This is a gorgeous wall.
I always get proud when they come out nicely.
These are really beautiful. And they look like they have spider webs because of the hot glue that's kind of like draped a little bit. That is actually one cool way that you can do spider webs, by the way, is you do hot glue, but then you have a air dryer or like a hot glue gun or a heat gun or something like that, and you blow it and it strings the glue. Did you not know
No, I didn't know that.
Well, that's what I get for watching Face Off and learning things from that TV show.
I'm just thinking of future encounters and it's like all of a sudden, ooh.
But yeah, so that's something you have to practice at it because you have to get it at the right angle and squeezing out from the hot glue gun at exactly the right time. But it works really, really well when you get it. As you guys can imagine, our Halloweens are pretty cool.
Last year's Spook Alley was pretty awesome.
It was. Anyway, I'm making, what am I making? I'm making wash. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yes, you are. But that's why the city's so important.
Yeah.
And that's why it then became the biggest city of all. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a huge lore book. There's so much that's going to be in there. I'm excited about it on a different front. This is something that was mentioned in the lore panel, and that was the fact that in Absalom, because it touches every part of the world, you'll have religions from every place. So even areas that haven't had their own lore books yet, their cultures and districts in Absalom will probably get touched on.
Yeah,
and so we'll
probably.
get an introduction to their cultures and different things like that before other books come out.
Speaking of, though, the one country that we've had really nothing about that is like the
Which one?
the Asiatic country continent
Yes.
here. Which,
Tianjin.
yes, Tianjin. We're getting an entire book about Tianjin.
Well, it's not a book about you're getting an adventure path.
I thought they were doing a book too.
It's a full adventure path on Tianjin.
Oh.
So that's going to have everything there. You're going to have tons of lore because it's like a full 4 but it's Mortal Kombat. It is a martial arts tournament.
Really?
Yes. It starts at level 11, I think.
Please tell me it's not going to be as bad as Mortal Kombat.
I imagine not. No.
No, nothing against this. This is not hating on Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is a game, awesome, whatever. The movie was horrible. Okay. I don't want to go into that right now. I will get heated.
That a little too passionate. Just kind of, I don't want trigger warning about your
Trigger
Mortal Kombat
warning.
love.
Mortal Kombat. The movie was horrible. And the stupid fatality. You know what? Flawless victory when he puts his hat back on.
I was like, dude, I love it. I love that it's in there, but come on.
It was
So here,
so bad.
I've got to grind a little bit more on the bottom. But once again, there it is, fully built with the windows in it.
Thank you.
And I love how with this it frosts them a little bit.
Yeah, it does. It makes it look it's clouded enough that you really could put just vague ideas of things behind it, and then the human mind just finishes it out. So you don't have to be as detailed if you're building something on the inside, if you're wanting to seen through.
Well, and if maybe there's things in the room that are a surprise or something like that, you can put them behind something like this. It's going to be more opaque. They're not going to be able to see completely through it and see what you've already got put in there. Just spread it a lot.
I know. Just a little bit too much on the brush.
That's weird because when I do my brown wash, I actually soak it kind of.
I don't like doing that. I don't have as much control over
the
depth.
These I was liberal with my brown wash.
Okay. Didn't know we were talking politics now, but that's
yes, 100%.
Joel's good.
But
okay, now I need to let that dry for a hot minute.
yeah. Which, by the way, we love to use blow dryers generally to dry things quicker.
Blow dryers and heat guns, awesome. I would prefer heat guns, so my blow dryer isn't always downstairs. But
yeah, we probably need to buy.
We do
something. Even
speaking of.
Okay, when I say the word buy and then suddenly I get that reaction, it always makes my heart cringe just
No,
a
we've
little.
already talked about this. This is just one aspect of it we didn't talk about. They now have the high quality heat guns at Michael's because of their expanded and new cosplay section.
Yes.
Which Michael's now has a cosplay section. I just want to say it. You can get Eva foam, you can get Warbla, you can get LED lights, you can get the string LED lights and the individual little ones, and you can get, what else do they have? You can get Dremels now too. The name brand Dremel tools, what we use Dremels. They have the craft one, they have the high powered one,
Whoa.
the crazy awesome one. They have all of the accessories.
Nerd power takes over.
This is why I have a job, to feed my habit. Anyway.
But yeah, so we were talking about Absalom. We jumped all around a little bit there. You got into
Hold on. I do need a nice fancy one. I do. I need the Dyson. I have proof. Someone can back me up.
What did you say?
He said I need a new fancy one for me.
Yes.
And then we can keep the old one.
There we go.
Yes.
But yeah, so that whole adventure path is going to be there.
You put it on that dark?
Yeah.
Hold on. I have to go be a parent. Just a second. What are you doing?
parenting moment brought to you by the fact that we can't give our children melatonin every night. It doesn't work that way. They actually stop sleeping. It actually makes it hard for them to sleep if we do it multiple nights. So we're saving it for tomorrow night for the actual play. But that means tonight they're struggling a little bit more on their sleeping. But yeah, so we're excited. I don't know if I'll do the adventure paths. I have issues with adventure paths. Doing an adventure path or a pre-planned campaign, right? As you notice, if you watch our actual play, we're very big in role play, and unless you find a way as a DM to really make your player characters care and make what's happening in the world important to them, the power of the story gets lost. And so that's why we decided we went with homebrewing a campaign because I want something, especially since we're doing it with just 2 people, focused, heavily on the events for each individual on each arc. It needed to be, okay, this story is about you. This is yours. It's going to mean something to you. And that's going to really help the story mean something. So pre-planned campaigns for this situation, I have a hard time with. I run pre-planned campaigns when I run them for my kids. So when I run it with my 8-year-old who we just sent back to bed, we play every once in a while with him and his grandparents. I'll use a pre-planned one for that because they don't really dig the role play. They want to get straight through that and they want to go in and kill some monsters, which those are always good for that. We got Jab is time zone difference is sending him to bed. Well, thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for watching and have a good bedtime.
You'll of course this will be up tomorrow. In case you want to watch the rest of it.
It's immediate VOD on Twitch, and then we are going to start putting these on our YouTube channel as well.
Yep.
So
good
night.
Sleep well. But so we were Tianshin.
Yeah.
Something Phoenix is what it's called. So yeah, it's going to be a situation where you've gone for this fighting tournament that's held every decade, and there's going to be, they've worked really hard to set up reasons for role play and interesting things to happen between the fights.
Because that's the thing that I struggle with adventure paths is it always feels like there's like no reason for everybody to really be together.
Well, and that's where I think it comes down to the DM or GM in that you almost have to guide your characters in their creation. I really feel like it'd be wise if I was doing adventure path again, like we're doing the Rise of the Rune Lords, with our boy and with grandparents. If I was doing that again, and I wanted you guys to do this, and no one did it, but there's the player's guide, which tells you about Sandpoint. What?
Nothing. There's just like other things that you have to do with life, and I wasn't like super into Pathfinder.
Yeah, you didn't understand yet. You didn't understand yet.
So I feel kind of bad about that.
And now we're running our own campaign, so like I do not have time.
No.
Like I have to write.
But
hold on really quick. If you have found a really good what's it called? Program? Yeah, I guess. For keeping track of like your notes, if you're doing like a thought bubble kind of approach or like a flow chart for whatever, please let me know because I've found a couple, but they're all like expensive. They charge lots of money.
I still like World Anvil.
I know, but I don't think that way.
True.
I don't think linearly. I think
there's that campfire one.
Chaotically. Oh yeah, there is a campfire. No, but that still I have to see it.
I was
going to use Prezi. But then like they now charge. It's literally been 7 years since I used them, so. I found another one that is okay, but without buying the pro premium whatever.
Yeah. Well, you want quality stuff, you're going to pay for it generally.
Anyway, moving on.
The unfortunate truth of that.
It's fine.
But on top of that, I just, you need to have players that you kind of get them to know, okay, here's where the story takes place. Shouldn't you be doing that on top of something?
I am, It's not a real craft board unless
There's
there's
paint
paint
all over.
all over it.
Okay.
Here, I'll do it over here. Is that better?
But you need to get them to where it's like, okay, you are a
Invested.
member of this community. If you are a member of this community, who are you? It's not that you live in a different town. You live in this town.
Yeah. Well, that's why I know somebody that I am connected to through my Discord called Pathfinder GMs. A writer's room for Pathfinder. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. Anyway, he was talking about how it's so frustrating for him because he's done Rise of the Rune Lords a couple of times, and
No one ever cares.
nobody cares about what's going on in Sandpoint. And he said that it's really frustrating for him as a GM because they want to just go off and do their own thing and go be murder hobos somewhere. And he has to figure out ways to bring them back to Sandpoint and make them care about what's going on. So, yeah. Okay, our Discord, my Discord that I created a little while ago is called Pathfinder GM Writers Room. And it's specifically for writers, GM writers, for their homebrew campaigns and stuff like that. But you do
have dungeon people in there that have created a sub one of Dungeons and Dragons and other things. I've seen other gaming systems.
Hold on a second.
I swear I saw
somebody might get in trouble. Just a second.
I thought I saw someone down at the bottom who had done it with other systems.
Stream announcements.
I don't know. You're the one that started the Discord. I'm not as Discordy.
Yeah, but if you're a Pathfinder GM, this is a really good resource. It's a pretty active Discord, and we talk about NPCs and rules and how to interpret rules, adventure path problems, and about homebrewing campaigns. We have a world building section where it's just the different worlds that we work in, and anyway.
Well, a big part of it, if you think about it, that we should share is the fact that our whole stream is about the fact that you only need two. You can do campaigns with just you and your spouse. Problem is, if you're doing it with just you and your spouse, and you want someone to bounce ideas off of,
because you have a really good idea about how to create a world-breaking thing, and then you can't share it with your spouse because they are gonna know
they're gonna be playing it,
and they're gonna be playing it.
And so you can't really.
It's really hard.
Check it out or ask people what they think of it. So that's what the Discord is about.
My fingers look so funny now.
Is being able to bounce ideas off other writers, ask, would this work? How would I make this happen? What game mechanics could I use for this?
Yeah, well, and we hardcore ADD'd out of this. But the point that I was making is that he actually is running a sub-campaign where all of the characters who are going to be, all of the people who are going to be in Rise of the Rune Lords they live in Sandpoint. So they're young, they're in their early teens, and they're all living in Sandpoint. They know the characters, the NPCs that show up later in the campaign of Rise of the Rune Lords. And so he figured out how to do that to help create more of a interest in what happens in Sandpoint in chapter 1 of the first book.
Because you gotta make them care.
Yeah.
You gotta find, but that's why I do kind of like the home brewing, especially with ours because it's just two people. I can specifically look at your character and say, okay, what will your character care about?
Yeah, well, and we move stuff along so fast because of that too.
That is one of the downsides, though.
You have to create a lot.
You got to write a lot more. And be ready for more to be covered. Like, I look at our Monday night, the games we run with our son and your dad, and we cover, so little.
I know. We barely get through a freaking encounter. Because we also only play for an hour and a half because we hit 9 o'clock and our son needs to go to bed.
So between the time constraints and how long it takes to just get anything done, especially when Michael wants to RP for 10 minutes about how he's dragon blood.
Every freaking time. Why did you let him choose that?
I didn't know what else. I mean, he would have done that for anything though that he wanted.
That's true.
So that wasn't me.
It was so funny because when he first started RPing, so our oldest is 8, he's almost 9, and he is high functioning autistic. He's a total sweetheart, smart as a whip. Like, he's adorable. Socially, this is a little difficult. That's why we actually started playing, is because we wanted to start role playing social situations with him to help him kind of progress that way. But the whole dragon thing is supposed to be like the subtext of that is like it's a very bad thing, and people normally hate you if you are dragonborn, and like you have tainted blood and whatever. And so of course in like the first session, in session 1, he's like, I don't know how to tell you this,
but I'm really a dragon.
I'm really a dragon. Like, it was so...
So, I don't know. Like, you should just be careful because I'm really a dragon.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
like,
Michael.
But don't tell anybody this. And I'm looking at Wes, and I'm like, and this is why we cannot tell Michael any kind of secret.
Well, yeah, it was...
We will tell the person 100%. Right?
Well, and you're right. It was telling, don't tell anybody, but I'm a dragon.
Yeah,
and then the next person, the next NPC, it's like...
I'm a dragon.
The mayor of the town. We got to talk to him.
Yep.
I'm a dragon.
Yep.
It's like, all right.
That was so funny.
But yeah, so that's what we were just talking about, the making people care.
Yeah.
And it does. It comes down to, can you make people care about it or not?
Yeah.
So, back to PaizoCon. Considering we are like ping-ponging like crazy.
I know, apparently we're kind of hyper tonight.
I'm most excited about the 2 new books that will be coming out that will present the new classes. So you got the Gears and Guns, and then the Secrets of Magic. So now, I don't think you know anything about those classes.
I don't. I mean, I know a little bit about the Gunslinger from Critical Role because they pulled that class from Pathfinder, because before they started streaming, they were doing Pathfinder. Yeah.
I mean, it was Pathfinder 1E that they pulled that from, but still going to be fairly similar. But I don't think you know anything about the Magus or Summoner.
I don't.
So, those are 2 new classes that are coming out in that. They were both existed in 1st edition, but they're being brought into 2nd edition in this book. So, Magus, if I had to liken it, it's similar to, in play for like combat, it would be similar to the Warlock.
Okay.
In my limited D&D knowledge, because you are a melee spellcaster who only gets 4 spells per at any given time. Mm-hmm. But you always get your highest level spells and like 1 level lower. Mm-hmm. So you only have like 4 spells that you can cast. They're generally going to be, a combat spell or something like that. But then you can attack with your you charge your weapon with your spell, and then you hit.
Okay. I like that.
So let's say that you spend an action, you charge your sword with Produce Flame cantrip. Mm-hmm. You then hit with your sword.
Music die?
And you, I just turn off the sound on our screen here for a second because I was doing that. You do the damage of your sword and the spell in the same hit.
Okay.
And you can do that throughout the game, and then you have to recharge it, and there are different focus points you can spend to do certain melee moves that will also recharge your sword or your weapon to then make another magical hit.
Okay.
So it's a melee magic user, arcane.
That's kind of cool.
Because the champion is all religious. It's all, based on a deity or something like that.
Yeah.
The Magus is arcane user. So I'm an arcane user who can channel my magic through my weaponry. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have higher melee skills. You're going to have higher HP. Mm-hmm. But you're going to be able to cast those 4 high-level spells always. You'll probably have a couple of cantrips, and then you'll have 4 spells. And even when you're, high levels, it'll just be 4 high-level spells, as opposed to spells of each level.
Yeah. I just realized I was supposed to do something today, and I didn't do it. I was supposed to go to Michael's and buy like 10 of these, and I didn't.
That's okay.
Speaking of, okay, so I want to share with you guys something that we found that works really, really well. So, these little mason jars are from Michael's, and they are 99 cents. These ones are $1.99. They're a little bit more. If you saw me earlier, I was making the brown wash, and I was making it with this. We have found that it works really well to mix it in here when you're doing the paint. So the paint system for Terreno is 1 part paint, 1 part water, 1 part PVA, or better known as wood glue. When you use this mixture, it makes all of the terrain pieces very rigid so that they're going to last a little bit longer and they can hold up to a little bit more rough usage.
But I had some issues for quite a while. I still don't know what changed, but I had a lot of issues.
I stepped in and started doing
there
stuff.
For quite a while where I would be mixing it with my paintbrush and it would clump.
Yeah, it
would clump around the paintbrush.
Yeah,
as I mixed.
The glue was not mixing with the paint and the water very well. So I had bought these for a totally different reason. I was actually going to make potions with these for our gaming, where I put red resin up to here and then had the number of dice that you needed for whatever kind of potion you had. So if it was the lesser, minor, major, superior, whatever. So I was going to make a whole bunch of different ones, and I was like, well, I'll try this and see if maybe this works. So I put everything in here, shook really vigorously.
And it works really well.
Really, really, really well.
Mixes really well.
Yeah, and what I ended up doing with the brown, because this is what we call the baby poop yellow. But the brown, we actually I put a D8 in there, a plastic one. You can get the RPG dice from the Dollar Tree, so I wasn't like putting in a really, really nice dice in there. I just put a D8 in there from the Dollar Tree because it had some good ridges and it wasn't like the D20s. I do find it sacrilege to do something like that with the D20s, so don't do that. But I put that in, and it works like in paintbrushes or in spray paint with the ball bearings on the inside, where you shake it and it helps mix everything together. So if you are having clumping issues and you're painting, this is the best thing that we have found to help with that. So anyway,
back to the Magus.
Yes, the Magus.
So that is what he is. So he's a melee spellcaster or arcane spellcaster. Because like I said, champions are, because you're...
I'm just going to use all of these apparently. Yep.
You're playing a champion, right? Right now. Which I think we can say that out loud because...
Yeah, we can say that out loud now. She is 100% a champion of Pharasma.
And you get different spells and different, focus spells that you can cast and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But it's all based around that religious thing, whereas the Magus is going to be different in that way, in that it's arcane.
True.
The other one... that I'm really excited about and really intrigued with playing is the Summoner.
The Summoner?
Yes, the Summoner. And let me...
Over here looking for green.
Looking for a good green?
Yeah.
And let me... I've actually got So they did a play test a while back on this before they... Now they're releasing the actual, but this was the playtest version. Because you were wondering, I was trying to describe what the Summoner summons, and wasn't being very successful. So let me try reading this intro.
Okay.
You're the mortal conduit for a very powerful being called an Eidolon, which you can summon into your world. Whether your Eidolon is a fiend, a servant, a friend, a servant, or even a personal god, your connection to them shapes the course of your life and marks you as someone extraordinary.
Oh.
So your Eidolon, and it's got a huge area here, trying to describe what it is. So you have a connection with a powerful and otherworldly entity called an Eidolon, and you can use your life force as a conduit to manifest the Eidolon into the mortal world. An Eidolon is a being formed of a ephemeral essence, typically mind, life, or spirit, that needs your body and connection to this world to manifest. Choose what type of Eidolon you have from the options beginning on page 18 in this playtest, and so you can pick from this list of Eidolons that you would use, and then that depends what type of magic you use, and the some of the types of abilities that you'll have. So there's the Angel Eidolon. There is the Beast. It's an Eidolon, actually. Beast Eidolon, which is like an animal spirit that you connect with. There is the Devotion Phantom. Your Eidolon is a lost soul, unable to escape the mortal world due to strong sense of duty, an undying devotion, or a need to complete an important task. Most Phantom Eidolons are humanoid with a spectral or ectoplasmic appearance, though some take far stranger forms. Your link with your Eidolon prevents them from succumbing to corruption and undeath, and together you'll grow in strength and fulfill your Phantom's devotions.
So it's basically possession.
Kind of. Well, but it's a separate entity.
But it's like possession.
No. It'd more be like it'd be more like the ghost connects with you, but the you're generally you're separated bodies.
Okay.
Think of it more like a ranger and its companion.
Okay.
So you've got your Eidolon that has its own game piece, and then you. And it takes some of your turns, your actions, in order to attack.
Okay.
What aren't you getting? You're acting like there's something you're
No,
not
I
getting.
get it. I just the way that's described sounds suspiciously like possession to me.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's feeding off of your life force. But
You're so cavalierly. Well, yeah.
But you aren't. It'd be similar to a lot of movies you see out there where the mediums, it would be like a lot of the medium things that you've watched, where the ghost reaches out to the medium in order to try and resolve their unfinished business. And then they work together with the spirit to finish their unfinished business.
Okay.
That'd be more akin to what it would be if you used that devotion.
Okay.
If you used that Eidolon. You've also got your dragon Eidolon, which of course is that you connect with the spirit of a dragon.
I like to spare the dragons.
Yep. And each one of these give you different spell list that you go from, but more so it gives you a different way that your Eidolon will attack. And different abilities that they'll have. So it is you summon this ethereal being as similar to an animal companion, and then you use it in combat. So like the angel one, you just give it. So it's you use divine magic. Your alignment must be good in order to have this Eidolon. It can come from one of these planes. It gives you what their melee attack damage is. And then they have Hallowed Strike. They'll get Angelic Mercy. They'll get different abilities based on that. So it's a really fairly complicated class.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It's very, in my mind, very similar to playing a druid with a animal companion focus, but it's arcane magic. I know in first edition there was an ability that you could have with the Eidolon to where it did almost possess you, and you shared the same form for a time. You were in control. I guess that would be the big difference is you're in control
Yeah.
versus possession.
Because it just sounds a lot like you're pulling power and they're pulling power from you, and it's like that just sounds like possession to me.
Because you share an HP pool. Like, I think you're thinking about this from a religious standpoint instead of a magical summoning standpoint.
Well, I think your head comes to a point. I'm just kidding. No, I think
Because you're acting like you're almost
probably right.
offended by the class.
I'm not offended by the class. I just don't think I would ever want to play that class.
Because where I would love in first edition, there was a feature you could take, or not feature, but feat you could take that allowed you and your Eidolon to where the Eidolon came in and kind of encompassed your body, and then you fought together as one in your attacks. I would love to do that with like giant. You take it like a giant Eidolon, and you just made Hulk.
So that's where this is coming from. You guys, he loves the Hulk.
Like
It's
you
his
would,
favorite.
you would just be a Hulk smash because you just got possessed by your, giant Eidolon doing melee attacks out there. I think it'd be awesomely fun.
That would be really cool.
But you can do other things. They introduced a construct Eidolon where you have a magical construct that you connect with. It's very much I think you might want to think of it akin to Dodie.
Oh, okay.
But
That
it
makes
can
more
take a
sense.
lot of different forms.
I don't know why I'm trying to save my hands right now.
I don't
They're
know
already
either.
freaking
It's a
green.
lot of paint you're putting on there.
I know. Not trying to.
Succeeding at.
I'm just succeeding at being awesome with the paint. That's all.
But yeah, so
all
that's
happening right now.
that's the thing is it's you have a companion who is a ethereal spirit form of something. An angel, a demon, a devil, an animal spirit, a actual spirit that has unfinished business. Any of those different things it could be.
Okay. That's cool.
So I am very interested in that one. I think that would be a really cool class to play myself. Because like you could have it to where you do a beast Eidolon and you summon the, Bruce.
Bruce. They love Bruce.
So, but again, I think it's very similar to a druid with a animal companion focus, but instead you are using arcane and not an actual living animal.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So yeah, so the Magus is the melee one. This one's the it's not really a spellcaster. It is almost more of a pet class. Now a lot of people apparently were somewhat disappointed in the class in one aspect.
How?
They wanted to have a summoner in the form that you summon tons of creatures and they're walking around with a little army of summoned
But
creatures.
that would take up so much arcane energy to do that.
Well, less than that in my mind. Okay, so you summon... Okay, let's say you summon 5 creatures. You're at level 15. You can summon 5 different creatures. Okay, action economy-wise, do they each get their own turn? Do they each do you have to use one of your actions for each of them to move, which in that case you can only use one, maybe 2 of them on any given turn, which means having more is kind of useless.
Well, yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's like a rule of cool kind of thing. Like everybody wanted to have the rule of cool, but once you get down to the mechanics of it,
It doesn't work. It doesn't. And that's why I think this form is better. It is you have an imaginary friend who materializes and actually fights with you.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. It's like Fred.
Yep.
From that movie. Do you know which ones I'm talking about?
I do.
Okay.
It's been a long time, but it's I saw. But yeah, and your Eidolon has a magical symbol that glows on it, and glows on your chest. So, or on your body. So you both have this glowing symbol that you can't hide that connects you both. So that way the bad guy can easily look and say, oh, okay, I know that you're the one with the summoned creature.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that might be a little unfair in combat when they're not sure how to take this thing down or who's connected to it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So from a game mechanic standpoint, that was important.
Yeah.
Because I see things like, you do that one, or you do have, the dragon, creature, because it's a spirit being. This isn't an animal, so I don't need to have like, a feat to have it talk to me or anything like that.
Yeah.
So as far as the role play, you've got this ephemeral dragon floating around you all the time that you're talking to and going around doing stuff. I think that sounds really fun.
I think that's awesome. Okay, see, now you've explained it that way. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So
I like that.
That's just that one Eidolon that is actually that spirit that has unfinished business type situation. In that case,
That makes sense.
you're playing more the situation of medium to this spirit to help it finish its business.
And I just want to show you guys my cup. It's the
Death Star. And where'd you get that from?
I got this from the Dollar Tree. I love this thing. I should have bought. They also had a Han Solo and Carbonite one that I didn't buy. I regret that quite
bad.
heavily. Almost every time I use this cup, I regret that.
But also with the
What was the other class though? What was the other one?
the Magus. So you had the Magus
Okay.
and the Summoner. They're also going to give a ton more spells in that. There are also additional types of magical systems. Like the Thessalonian rune magic
Yeah,
will be
that's a new
completely
one.
laid out.
Frick, now I can't even see where the lines are. If you do this, do a different way than I'm doing it, because I have a really hard time seeing the lines once I've cut them and then painted them and then dark washed them. I'm never totally sure where the line is.
Oh
at.
no! Snapped as I was
Stop
brushing.
it! I
Have
think
hot
it's right
glue
there.
will fix.
Yeah. That's true. Okay, cool.
Now, I do want Haley.
Yes.
Give me a second.
Oh my gosh, today wiped me out. By the way, I would just like to say happy Memorial Day to everyone. I have quite a few family members that have served in the military, as has Weston, and so we just want to say thank you for your service.
Yes.
If you do serve in the military, thank you very much. I know it is a sacrifice. And we are blessed to the young, stupid kids who enroll when they're little and then end up being incredibly brave and rising to the occasion. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. You need to close your eyes real quick.
Oh, I'm not allowed to see this part.
No.
Can I just, keep cutting?
Yes,
Can I
look
just
down.
Look down and keep cutting?
I made these the other night. Again, using the same stuff. These are going to be used in some upcoming sessions. I'll tell you what they are when they come up, but I thought I was really proud of these different objects that have been made. If you look at them, you can probably guess what they are. But yeah, these are coming up soon, and I'm excited, and I can't tell her about them at all or show them to her because then I'd give away what's happening soon, but show you.
And Weston can't lie to me, so I can't ask questions either.
No, she can't be like, well, what is that? Oh, nothing. I made it for something else. Tra-la-la.
Yeah, because that's essentially how you act when you're trying to lie to me.
I don't say tra-la-la.
That is true. You do not. Tra-la-la. If you have young boys, you'll know what that was. Anyway, so I'm really excited to see some of these new things, especially with the gunslinger, because I want to create like a Matrix Trinity type character at some point as a gunslinger.
Well, because we do just 2-player, we do the dual class system.
Yep.
And so if you're going to make Trinity, how?
Well, she'd have to be from. I just lost the name of it. Okay, I didn't just lost the name of it. I don't remember the name of it. The country that's like the advanced technological where
Okay.
androids come from and stuff.
Yep.
So she'd be from that country, and she would be a gunslinger.
Okay.
There isn't really a class of hacker.
Nope, there's not.
Gunslinger fighter, probably.
I think you'd probably want to do her as a gunslinger monk.
Gunslinger monk?
Yeah.
Why?
The hand-to-hand combat.
Oh, that is true.
And the flipping around and the
Acrobatics.
yeah, the high decks.
That is okay. That is true. That is true. That makes sense.
So that's what I would think. And you do get key
Actually
point.
like that.
You do
Yeah.
get those key moves.
The key points.
Where you can,
literally
suddenly
cannot talk
punch
about it.
them and you send magical energy and they fly farther back.
Yeah.
Type situation. A Neo
Or
punch.
stunning strike.
I don't know if they.
I don't know if they have that. I haven't looked into the monk class
Yeah.
in Pathfinder, but I know they have that in D&D. Thank you, Marisha Ray, for teaching me the ways of the awesome monk.
Yes, but that is what I think would be a gunslinger monk combo with the dual class system. Would
freaking
be
incredible.
very interesting. Very
I think
interesting.
That would be really cool.
I'm also really interested with the guns and gears. So they bring in the inventor,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of like I imagine like an artificer in some way.
Probably. Yeah, I'm gonna go with yes on that one.
But they're bringing in a whole system of inventing things.
Yeah, where you can actually invent different aspects of
So
your
this is
character in your class.
this is going to be interesting because I think I can see this from two ways. I can see this in two ways. One, cool. I, as the DM, can create some really cool stuff that doesn't exist. Awesome.
I'm realizing right now the camera can't really see your hands. You pull everything close to you.
But on the whoa, I don't know what happened there. On the other hand, I could also see a DM who has an overly ambitious player who wants to bring tons of ideas for inventions they want to make for their character.
Mm-hmm.
And the DM making sure they're balanced. It's like I look at what happened
Wouldn't you
with.
just have to like make the DC for that all that stuff really high? Like if they create something that's really high powered, like a freaking cannon, wouldn't you just have to make the DC for succeeding on an enemy really high? If you're trying to make it balanced.
Okay, so there's no what do you mean DC for an enemy? Because there's an AC for an enemy.
Or yeah, I'm sorry, I'm starting to get tired. Yes.
But then if I make the AC for all of it super high, so they never hit with it, then I'm making the AC high for everyone else.
Well, no, because I'm thinking like does like if you roll less than like a 12, it doesn't hit.
But that would be based off AC.
No, that would be based off of the dice roll. Like not like literally just the dice roll. Irregardless. So you take that one machine and say less than 10 you don't hit.
No, it'd be less than 10 you misfire. Like the gun breaks.
Well, yeah, something like that.
Because that's different. You don't hit means I shoot you and I miss. That is AC. I'd be completely changing the game mechanic for hitting an enemy
Yeah.
if I started messing with that.
I think you could probably find a good way to balance it where if you do create something that is a little too overpowered.
Yes, but you also don't know when you first... That's the hard thing, is knowing at the start as a DM or GM, is this overpowered? Do you understanding that now?
Yeah.
So
No,
like,
I get
okay,
it.
well, it's like a great example. I don't think, in our campaign, I don't think I should have given you the sword I gave you.
I know. You said that right after you gave it to me. Like that night.
Because you're taking out monsters that are higher level than you should be able to. But technically, according to the rule book...
It could be that I'm just awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with that one.
You go with that one. But according to the rule book, a +1 striking weapon is completely normal for a character of your level.
Mm-hmm.
So, not quite sure what's going on there
Like how
in the
that
fact that
works.
you're... Because at pretty much every combat that you've had, according to the rules, has been a severe or extreme combat encounter.
Yeah, that's definitely not what's been happening.
Well, that's not how it's felt. But from the rules as far as XP, they've all been that. The fight in the science lab was a severe encounter. We should not have gotten
with the two.
we shouldn't have gotten out of that without being major hurt.
I hit though like crazy hard.
I
the
know.
First couple of times, like I rolled
You critted.
really well. Those first couple of times, so it's like.
Yeah.
I don't think so much it's that you gave me an overpowered weapon, is that you gave me something that just rocks.
But that's the hard thing, because you want to make combat.
I just want to finish one of these tonight.
In my mind, you do want to make combat such that. Question for you. So you're making those green.
These are for a different set.
Okay, cool. Like, do you have enough reds to make your top roofs for the red sets?
Yes, I do.
All right, go.
I do. Have you not seen my little...
Oh, that's right.
those?
You got a whole
Like,
ton of
that's
those. There we go.
These are also from the Dollar Tree. They come in packs of 3. You should go get them.
Yeah, you should. Oh gosh, you completely derailed me on what I was talking about. We were talking about balanced weapons, and making sure you don't give
my weapon and the fight and
just everything I've said to you has been extreme. Now it's possible that that's the dual class.
I need the brown too. It might be the dual class aspect because I'm also able to heal myself.
But then again, as I do think about it,
You can just put it right here. You don't have to screw it up.
as I do think about it, my character his life went down by at least half.
Yeah, and I was down quite a few hit points.
And you critted. You crit on your first hit. On a power attack.
Yeah,
Like-
which added, and the sword added 1d12 to that.
So
So I did 3d12
Yes.
times 2.
Yes.
Because I critted. So
Yes. That's a pretty awesome hit.
Yeah.
So, because it's hard. Like, I want the combats to feel like you have to be. I don't want you to go into combat thinking, okay, I'm just going to rock this one, no problems.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. I do not.
I want it to be crap.
I'm constantly worried about a TPK, and I legitimately tell him all the time, you better not make me create a new character. I like Enduriana.
I know.
I know.
But that's the thing. So it's. Put that in there.
Trust me, on our game nights, we're not this tired. We drink a lot of caffeine.
We drink a lot of caffeine and stay awake.
I know. Like,
But that's the thing is,
we're gonna
I
be
do
ending
worry
soon
about,
anyway.
because I know that in Critical Role, Campaign 1, they used the inventing as something that Percy could do.
Yeah, well, that was part of like his what's it called? His thing, that's the way they explained away why Percy had guns.
But it's also, there's a mechanic for that, and they probably took that from Pathfinder.
Yeah. But like that was kind of like a thing that they really played up in Critical Role, because in D&D they don't have the gunslinger class.
No, they don't. I think they do now.
I have no idea.
I think Matt kind of helped them make that.
Matt kind of helped them do a lot of things.
He's also got the Blood Hunter that he made.
Which
and all
is
that.
so cool, and they never freaking do anything with it in Campaign 2. Not that it's fine. They don't explain any of it. It's fine.
But the I remember there were quite a few times where he introduced a weapon, and then Matt would after a game or two would adjust the DC, the range of numbers he had to roll to misfire.
Yeah.
Or what he had to do in order to, fix it, and how long it took and how many actions he had to spend fixing it, or things like that.
Yeah, I think that was more of what he did, is he would make him spend an action to fix it. Otherwise, it was like out of the game.
Well, and that's part of the gunslinger system. Mm-hmm. That is in Pathfinder 2e, going to be in Pathfinder 2e as well. Is that whole same system of firing, and you can misfire, and then you have to fix the guns and all that. Mm-hmm. There are a couple abilities that they introduced in the play test for the gunslinger that I think are kind of lame.
Like what?
Like one of them. Let me see if I got it here. But one of them is that you jump and fire your guns behind you, giving yourself an extra jump, an extra boost. I'm like,
it's like these are not freaking jet engines. What the heck, man?
Oh, but they are.
Apparently,
they're a musket rifle has suddenly turned into a jetpack.
Yeah, it has.
And
didn't you know that's how they fought the Revolutionary War? Now I just have a vision of all of the Revolutionary War fighters. But that had to be a special group. It was like the paratroopers.
Yeah, I guess.
There's only a small group that could do that.
But that some of those. The other one was that if you had a gun and a weapon, a thrown weapon, you could throw the weapon. Like let's say you threw a dagger. You throw the dagger at them, then you shoot them. It hits the dagger doing extra damage, but then hits the dagger in such a way that it bounces the dagger back to you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm just like...
A boomerang.
What the freak is this?
It's a dangerang.
Like...
Yeah.
I don't know.
There were some mechanics that I felt like they were trying to do like the rule of cool on.
And I just felt like they were like...
Make sense.
This makes...
Yeah.
You guys have never shot a gun in your life, have you? Like, did any of you go to a shooting range before you came up with this class?
Shooting guns is really interesting, though. Because, like, I think if you really... I think that's where the difference between the play styles come in. It's like D&D is very much fantasy-based realm, ideas. You create things that are completely off the wall and the real world wouldn't work. Most of the time, Pathfinder is very grounded in realism. Most of the time. In terms of logistics, logic-based, like, take this through to its conclusion kind of thoughts.
I don't know. I don't know if we've gotten far enough along in some of our characters to know.
That's true. At least at this point of where we are right now, I feel like that's what's going on.
I feel like most of the abilities make sense. Mm-hmm. The one exception being, I do have a bit of an issue with the fact that disarm, the ability to disarm and trip come completely from strength and athletics.
Versus dexterity?
Yeah.
That's true.
Because if I have a dagger and I know to just cut your hand, and I'm dexterous enough to just cut cut on your finger, you're going to drop your weapon.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I tried to do that one episode where I just wanted to cut like the back, like I wanted to cut the guy's Achilles tendon.
Yes.
Like I just wanted to slice the back of his leg.
And there was no game mechanic for it.
Yeah.
There was no game mechanic for it. There was no, and I was like, there should be.
Yeah. So you kind of like homebrew.
I'm starting to homebrew a way for that. I don't know if we want to roll that out while you're DMing.
Not while I'm DMing. No.
So that might be.
You guys, I'm a storyteller. I'm a freaking writer, legit writer, and I cannot do story mechanics or like game mechanics like that. I can do other types of mechanics. Like that. It's really hard.
Yeah, because the idea was, it was a fairly simple idea. It was you take a negative to attack. Mm-hmm. And to your AC and you're flat-footed for that round because you were focused on that attack and not on defending yourself.
Yeah.
So it was like you take a -2 on attack and you're flat-footed for that round. But if you hit, you have a chance.
The consequence is pretty high.
Well, you have and not necessarily, you have a chance to inflict the condition. If you hit their arms, it's enfeebled. If you hit their legs, they're flat-footed.
Yeah.
If you hit their, or no, I didn't do flat-footed. It was as if you had done Tanglefoot. It limited their distance to only 10 feet.
Yeah. That's what it was.
If you hit their head, they were dazed, I think is what it was. And then they had to roll a
certain
fortitude save
Yeah.
against your class DC.
Yeah.
Was the way I would do it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, my hands are so covered in paint.
Yeah. And that's the mechanic I was thinking of doing. Because then there's a cost to doing it. You're not going to want to do that every attack. Not unless you know that your attack versus their AC is different enough and you're willing to be flat-footed.
Yeah.
Like, if you're fighting a rogue who's going to be able to sneak attack you, if you're flat-footed, you're not going to want to do this. But
Not even a little bit.
if you're fighting a big, bulky melee fighter who is having a hard time hitting you, you're going to be more willing to dedicate some time to a strategic cut.
Yeah, well, and that was like this guy that was running off is I wanted to talk to him, which is why I was trying to just stop him and not kill him. That didn't end up happening because my partner smashed his head like a freaking melon.
Yeah,
but
she
it's
did.
a different story.
Yeah, but you guys hurt the horse.
I had
PETA
to.
would not have been happy with you.
I had to hurt the horse because he was freaking riding away
So
on the horse.
he was riding away on the horse.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think we are pretty much done for tonight.
We painted a bunch, but we need to now
I know
let it
I
sit.
didn't manage to actually build one of the rafters, which is really frustrating, or the peaks. I wanted to build a peak tonight, and that did not
But
happen.
the paint all needs to dry now
Yep.
before we can move on to the next stage.
Yep.
So, thank you all for watching. Please join us tomorrow night for our continuation of the Scions, our actual play. Make sure you put that in the water. Our actual play where you can continue the story of Anduriana and as they are seeking to escape Citadel Infarak.
Yep. Just as a real quick recap, we have a Hell Knight who is figured out that she doesn't necessarily like what's going on in the Hell Knight Order. When we have a slave who is trying to escape, and they have been confronted on their way out of the Citadel to escape by an automaton that is powered by literal souls. So
Soul magic.
soul magic.
I like it.
It's pretty exciting. So we would love to see you there tomorrow night if you can catch us. We are at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here on this channel. We are also doing these all VOD on YouTube as well. So if for some reason you can't catch the replay on Twitch, or you're like me and you don't realize that like you can watch it on Twitch later, we do have a YouTube channel. It's Party of 2RPG. Where you can find all of that stuff. And coming really soon, we are going to be doing some additional videos about DMing and about role-playing and how to play as a two-player party.
We will also be releasing on podcasts.
Yes.
VOD and podcasts come out on Fridays, but if you can, please join us tomorrow night for the gameplay live of the Scions.
Yep. We will talk to you guys tomorrow night when we're very caffeinated and not quite so tired.
Yep, and just remember, it only takes two.
Good night, you guys.